Hi, everyone. Charles Hoskinson here, live from warm, sunny Colorado. I figured I'd make a video for my Friday night musings. Sometimes I have musings. Sometimes it's Friday night. At least I think it's Friday night. It is October the 30th, and tomorrow is Halloween. That day we all dress up in costumes and go to other people's homes and ask strangers to give us candy. And for some reason, we're not doing that. I guess there's a pandemic or something like that. Everybody having a good night? I'm having a good night. So I have a pretty extensive sentiment apparatus here at IO Global. Anytime we make a, hey, Eye of the King, love your videos, man. Good to see you, Katsumoto. Every time we make an announcement or an event, we always follow the sentiment scoring. And this one's a unique one. We have a very bipolar sentiment set. Either people thought that the show that we did yesterday was one of the best we've ever done, and they're super excited, and they think that everything's amazing, or people think that we're completely behind, everything's falling apart, the project is going nowhere, there's another delay, we don't know what we're doing. In fact, I got some of these comments here, and I figured I'd read one or two of them off because I thought they were so funny. This one's great. All right. As an old R&D manager from Volvo and Ericsson, from what I hear, which is only bad excuses, I would be really worried if I had any money in Cardano. My 25 years of experience warned me that such projects with 99% probability will not succeed. The way he explains progress would be never accepted by any project steering group or company management. Now, there's dozens of these, like the price is going to zero and you guys are incompetent and so forth. But on the other hand, there were a lot of people who were very impressed by what we saw. And I think the issue here was that it was a situation where people who were unfamiliar with product or project management and actually a product rollout, they just had unrealistic expectations. In particular, they were thinking that there was just going to be this announcement like, oh, Gogan's coming in 2 weeks and everything's going to be done and 600 applications are going to be launched and huzzah, it's all going to be there. And in reality, you can't do that with a cryptocurrency. It's not possible for any cryptocurrency. You have to do it through a phase series of updates, and you have to do it with partners because there's over 30 plus exchanges. There's multiple wallets. There's a lot of stuff there, and they need notice and they need time to upgrade. That said, progress is great. We said that native assets are coming this year, and we have the Mint network coming online, which is the first step in native assets because people actually need to write them and deploy them. We mentioned that there's going to be multiple development environments for writing smart contracts on Cardano, and actually there are 4. There's Glow, Yella, Marlow, and Plutus, and all of them are actually going to have their own development environments, and all of them actually bring something unique and new to the table. We said that you're going to have the ability to start writing code this year in anticipation of Cardano applications, and that we can begin commercialization of the platform from the smart contract perspective. That's already begun with Marlow, and it's already begun with metadata, where actual real projects are utilizing that or bidding on it. But the problem is that this is all interesting to a class of people. People actually do the work and get things done. This is utterly uninteresting to speculators because speculators want big news. They want, like, basically you say, oh, well, Microsoft is partnering with us. Oh, well, Google is using our stuff, and they're going to replace the whole Googleplex with our thing, and starting tomorrow, and your token's now worth 1,000 times more. That's not how any progress works or project works. The reality is that this is a marathon, and it takes iterative progress day by day by day, and you have to really put in the time. And I'm real proud of the team because they're there. Every 2 weeks, something is released. Actually, every week at this pace, as something is released, whether it be DB Sync, or it be Smash, or it be Cardano Node, or it be the Addrestia wallet backend, or it be Daedalus, or it be Atlas, which is a project that's coming soon, or it be a new Prism release, some internal, some external. There's actually dedicated release managers now. They have these giant reports. And if you saw that slide, that had all the stages of Gauguin, showing how much complexity is there. And what people don't even get is that was a third of the entire Cardano deliverable stuff that's happening in parallel. There's also the Voltaire release cycle, which is exactly the same as that, and the Shelley release cycle, which is exactly the same as that. All of them are working in parallel. We've gone from one major release to three major releases in less than 6 months that are working in parallel, in addition to the science continuing. I looked at our paper archive, and we're actually at 90 plus papers, 90 from 75. A lot more publications to come and a lot more refinement protocols to come. So I'm pretty excited about all these things. And I was just a bit perplexed by that bimodal distribution of things. But then I realized that, it is what it is. And there's not much you can do about it. People have their opinions, and this is the space that we're in. And I'd be pretty sad and depressed if that was the group that I worried about. The reality is we're getting the deals we want to get. And we have some that are coming that have very, very high probability of closing actually in November that I'm going to be very excited to announce. And that's what 2021 is going to look like. It's going to be a marathon of one thing after another, after another, after another. And it's not going to slow down. In fact, it's only going to speed up, and the technology is only going to get better. So there you go. And of course, you got guys like this. Can't wait to buy Cardano at 4 cents soon. And then I thought about another thing, which was this trolling. I notice it tends to uptick right before we actually have major breakthroughs in the project. The trolling was heaviest this year right before we launched Shelley. We had people saying it's not possible, it's not going to happen. Then it happened. They all shut up for a little bit. There was a little bit of a die-off. It was a nice piece. And now we're right back in the same situation. And you have all these people that say these things. And that's the space we live in. Yeah. Anyway, so Friday Night Musings. Let's get to some of your comments and questions, Peanut Gallery. I have a little spare time. I never sleep. I never stop working. I'm going into the office tomorrow. It's Saturday. I have no life, guys. Not at all. From Pew Pew Tube. I'm worried about the elections, Charles. I think everything's going to go to shit. U.S. Civil War and more. You could be right, man. Everything is indeed falling apart. And it's not going to be any easier November 3rd. It's a very tough time. But you know what? Focus on your family. Focus on each other. I do about 2-3 interviews a week, and they're all positive. People having a lot of fun. We're getting great questions. We're getting great exposure. A lot of people to talk to. Yeah, you see, this is an example of that bimodal distribution. When people say they're impressed, they're really impressed. Wow, look at the totality of things. And they're just fired up. Finally, I catch you live. Well, finally, I caught you live, bus cow. How do you get a cow on a bus? And here we go from Bohemian. I was disappointed. Were you just disappointed, or you're really disappointed? Like, this is the worst thing you've ever seen in your life, and you're so disappointed that you called your mother and said you were considering dropping out of your school program. Let's say that you're learning how to become a hairstylist, Bohemian 13, and you were just so upset about it that you decided to drop out, and now you're just going to go become a camel herder in Uzbekistan. Not enough flying sharks with lasers. Yeah, I know, right? Hi from Kosovo. Good to see you. From Daniel. When you've had enough of Cardano for the day and you need a break, what do you do to take your mind off the project? Thank you. Well, the last 3 months have been particularly crazy. And they've just been so filled with work. Literally every single day, I have to do so much in context shift. I had marketing meetings today. I had finance meetings today. I had meetings related to the C fund today. I had meetings related to the DC fund today. I had several external meetings today. I had an interview today, chief of staff meeting today, science meeting today, help design a protocol today. Talked to a bunch of developers today about various things. So every day kind of looks like that. And I tend to work at least 6 days and work a half day on Sunday. Sometimes I just work straight, like 14, 15 days straight, and then take a little bit of a break. It's just we have so many things going on and we're hiring like crazy. We have 50 positions we're hiring for at Iowa Global right now. 50, 50. It's pretty crazy. But when I do take a break, I try to sleep in a little bit. And I have so many books that I'm reading. And sometimes I read books on artificial intelligence. Sometimes I read philosophy. Sometimes I read history. Sometimes I read poetry. Just depends on the facts and circumstances, situation. Actually, there's a game that I've been wanting to play for a while. One of our fans here mentioned it. It's called Event Zero. And it's a game where you play an astronaut who's marooned, and he manages to get to an abandoned space station where it's only inhabited as an AI, and you have to somehow negotiate with the AI to get you back to Earth. But the AI wants you to do some stuff, and the premise just looks amazing. What's really special about it is that you can type anything you want to the computer, and the computer interacts with you like a human does. And I hear it's actually quite good. So these are the things that I do. I read a lot, build things, farm, if I'm not working, but unfortunately, a lot of work. How is the Singularity Net move from Eth going? Ben is a very bright guy, and he sends me lots of emails, and they're very deep and involved, and that's great. So Ben and I, we talk a lot, and we think a lot about these things, and it's going to be a systematic stuff. We're talking about creating DSLs. We're talking about a lot of AI-driven projects. I might do a social network one day, and if we do that, we'll have an AI backend for content curation. It's just balls to the wall type of stuff, and our engineers love working with them, and we're going to have a lot of fun over the next 6 months as we start doing that. It'll probably be a two-way peg where you can move your tokens from one network to the other network. But of course, everybody just want to be on Cardano because we're so much faster and less expensive to operate on. And there's just nothing compelling about being on Ethereum. It's bad design. Let's see what here. Sophia scares me. No, what's going to be scary is when you deal with a Sophia that doesn't scare you. Then that's a different kind of a world. Oh, here we go. This is an interesting one. Hi, Charles. Did you play the AOL Gold Box SSI Neverwinter Nights? Allowed up for 500 people to play. Why don't you buy that and put some money in the system on Cardano? Neverwinter Nights is actually owned by, it's either Atari or Ubisoft. I can't remember who has the rights to that. The Gold Box stuff was, I think, Stormfront Studios, and they did Gateway to Savage Frontier and Treasures of the Savage Frontier. And then there were two other major series. There was the Pool of Radiance series, which led all the way to Pool of Darkness. And then there was the Silver Blades and the Curse of the Azura Bonds that was set in the Dragonlance universe. They also used Gold Box for Flash Gordon and a few sci-fi related stuff. So it was for its time a really revolutionary infrastructure. And what I would want to do is buy all the rights to Gold Box and then completely rebuild Gold Box and redo Gateway and Treasures. And there was a planned sequel for Treasures, but Don Daglow did it, the game Treasures and Gateway, and they ended up doing Unlimited Adventures instead, which they created a creation kit where you could build your own world with the Gold Box engine. But they never actually created the sequel to Treasures, which was a shame because your characters were just getting good. They were level 12, first edition D&D, and they could have gone like Pool of Darkness up to level 18 to 20, somewhere there. And that gets a little crazy, and the creatures that you deal with are a little crazy. So kind of sad that never came out. But I'd totally redo them, and it would be a really beautiful retro thing to do. And I think you could really have a lot of fun. But Legends of Valor is coming along quite well. Had a major plot breakthrough, actually, for Legends of Valor the other day. I was in the shower thinking, and I said, wow, this is a great way of doing it. And then everything just started coming together. So I'm very excited about it. Can't wait to write it down in a structured way. And then we're going to do a lot of innovation on how story building is done and human game interaction is done. So 3 E's and an N: experiences, education, entertainment, and narrative. And we're going to build great software in all those categories. That's kind of meta software that enables you to do things a bit better. You ever play a video game and ask, why did that happen? Watch Wisecrack or Film Critic or, any of these things. Barely easy, barely super easy, barely an inconvenience, that type of stuff. You need software to kind of force you to think a little bit more relentlessly about it. But it'll be fun to do. I love video games. Can you see Wyoming adopting Cardano infrastructure to run voting systems? Yeah, we're going to try. We have a lobbying strategy for 2021, and we're going to put it all in. Put it all in. Oh, look at this right here. Bart's Tale, Might and Magic, Pool of Darkness, Insane. Might and Magic, big one. 3DO was the publisher, and New World Computing was the company behind Might and Magic. John Van Craighaven. And I guess he was a bright guy and he was very visionary, but he kind of became a little dick, I heard from employees who worked at New World Computing. He'd like drive in a Corvette and leave early and, started phoning in. And they ran out of steam right when Heroes 4 and Might Magic 8 was released. Both games were incomplete and they were very problematic. And then the rights got snatched up and Nival Software or something got the Might Magic franchise. And I think it's now published under Ubisoft. But it's basically made by the Russians. And they threw away Enroth and Arathia and all these other things. It's real sad. It was such a great game series. That was another one I wanted to buy. The entire Heroes of Might Magic series, all that IP was sold for about $1.8 million. I got Legends of Valor for $50,000. So this is an interesting question about price. Well, IOHK asked for funding from the Treasury, of course, for the DCF mechanism. So anyway, we'll create all that, and we're going to next year take care of that. It's not a 2020 question. It's a 2021 question. And as we've repeatedly stated, we have to get Cardano to a state where it's reasonable to ask for renewal, which means the system has to be decentralized and have smart contracts and a fully functioning treasury system and a voting system, or otherwise it's not decentralized. You have no choice if you can only go with one vendor, right? You need choice. And we're getting there. We have a great plan for that. And, it'll happen when it happens. As for the ADA price being a vanity metric, no one can control price. But one thing you can aggressively do is marketing adoption and use and utility. And what that does is it holds up the price. You see, there was a world of difference between Amazon of 1999 and Amazon of 2011. At the all-time high in 1999 or whatever it was during the dot-com boom, Amazon didn't reach that again for another decade. But all the work they had done between those two goalposts had created a support that the price was real in 2010, and there was real value there. And it's the same situation here in our industry. Bitcoin goes way up and it goes way down. But the difference is over the period of time that if you have real use, utility, and adoption, then there are buyers for sellers. And so you're not in a bubble. It's just natural market demand for that. And that's where you need to get to. So some people have to worry about building that infrastructure, and some people have to worry about marketing growth and adoption. If there's a good bid, then what you do is you do it as a consortium. And so basically bring many actors together, and some worry about the marketing and adoption, and some worry about representations, and some worry about regulation, and some worry about code. And that entire federation gets you where you need to go. And in a way, that's what happened with the initial 5 years with Emergo and Cardano Foundation and IO Global. And what I would like to do is broaden that set to 20 to 30 companies if we can get there. So that's a 2021 conversation, but I don't think it's vanity. I just think that you have to do things to make it real and sustainable and permanent. Thoughts on the new Alex Jones, Joe Rogan Experience episode? I was deeply disappointed, Tony Montana. Deeply, deeply disappointed. It felt to me like, and this is just my opinion, it felt to me like Spotify was basically telling Joe it's only okay to have him on your show if you derail him and every 5 seconds fact check him for every single thing he says. And even that, it's not good enough. And you're going to have the woke mob canceling their subscriptions to Spotify because you have the audacity just to platform this guy. And that's just sad. Alex is a tangent guest. There's some people you bring on your show, you just sit there, you put a microphone in front of them, and you say, go. And they just go. And 2 hours later, you're talking about interdimensional aliens from DMT. 2 hours later, you're talking about like how government is making the frogs gay. You're just getting crazy stuff thrown at you. If you say every 30 seconds, he says, "Oh, AT&T is giving money to the sky," and you're like, "How do you know that, Jamie? Check that shit out." It's like you've completely ruined the momentum of that guest, and then he has to get back into it, and then you ruin the momentum and get back into it and into it. And like the end, he was complaining that he invited himself for the New Year's special, or excuse me, the election special, and then he was like doing an alcohol intervention at the end of the episode. I was like, holy shit, what is going on? So I wasn't impressed. I didn't like it. George Norrie, Coast to Coast AM. And then before that, there was Art Bell. If you were up at midnight and you wanted to hear about ghosts that had sexual relationships with vampires that were brought here by aliens from a different dimension, that is the radio show to listen to. And I enjoyed it because I used to work a night shift. Charles Hoskinson, back in July 18th, Google met with you for Q&A. Did anything ever come for that? Work with them in the near future. Yeah, we did talk to them. It was an informational meet and greet. We kept the number, and we talk to the Google people all the time. There's lots of crypto Google groups. They read our code. We read their code. They do open source contributions. We do too. There's a time and a place for everything, and we have to kind of grow to a scale where any relationship makes sense. But the dialogue is open, and the commercial team's willing to do things, and we'll just see where the road takes us. When do you plan a celebration for Goguen? At the Goguen Summit. When that happens, we'll announce it when it does. What do you think about Kanye running for president? I think he made a deal with Jared Kushner to take votes away from Biden. You've said if Cardano doesn't succeed, you'll become a monk. What type of monk are you referring to? I think a philosophical Taoist monk living in exile in the mountains of Montana, who occasionally will anonymously mail literature to various people. Charles, will the pubs and Legends of Valor be full of random NPCs shilling shitcoins? Yes, they will be shilling certain things, but I will take people who have annoyed me throughout my life, and I will put them in the game, and I will be very kind to them as they have been kind to me. You know, he was also a mathematician, just saying. Can you sleep while drinking coffee this late? Yes, I can. When Galaxy Note Cardano node? You mean this guy right here? Thoughts on the Dark Side of the Moon Wizard of Oz connection? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, apparently The Dark Side of the Moon album from Pink Floyd lines up with The Wizard of Oz, and it works really well if you're high. I've never tried it, but a lot of people have told me about it. One of these days, we just got to figure that out. Oh, this one's a good one right here. Charles, you may have heard of ransomware attacks on many hospital systems. Can Cardano help with preventing such attacks and protect sensitive medical data? Blockchain technology can always be part of that conversation. My dad's hospital in Gillette, Wyoming, was actually hit, and it took them, I think, 2 to 4 weeks to resolve all of that. So it's definitely a serious concern, and I don't want to get into it, but there are ways to improve things. And it's part of it's just generic InfoSec, and then part of it is also changing the way that medical records are handled. Charles, when do you think Antonopoulos will notice Cardano? Oh, he's aware of it. It just has to get to a certain size, and then I think he probably will write a Mastering Cardano book if the incentives are right. Charles got the jokes tonight. LOL at the monk comment. That's not a joke, Monica. If Cardano doesn't work, then I'm just done with life, and I'm going to go be a monk somewhere in Montana because I put my heart and soul into this thing. You know, there's sometimes comments I see from trolls, and they legitimately believe these things. They say, like, I leave a project every 6 months. I've been working on Cardano straight as my primary vocation for 6 years. 6 years. I'm getting old. I'm getting fat. My beard is, my hair's falling out. And, just nothing but Cardano all day long, every day. Traveling all the places, and it's just inconceivable to me to ever not be working on Cardano. And I'll only leave if the community doesn't want me. But then there's just people that just really believe that I can't work with anybody. Like, where did the Zencash relationship come from? Or the Litecoin relationship come from? Or the Polymath relationship come from? Or any of these other things? There's dozens of projects we work with, and we have to work with our community, and we have to work with a larger ecosystem. It's kind of crazy, but that's the problem with narratives. People just believe stuff, and no amount of evidence will convince them otherwise. It is what it is. Oh, this one's interesting. Charles, what do you think of the Sumerian stories of the Anunnaki? So those were apparently Mesopotamian gods, which may have been aliens, according to the stories that people have. And there's a lot of weird stuff in that period of time. Are you in a secret society? No, not at all. Not in a secret society at all. This is great. How can we speed up the block? Whoopsie. Sorry about that. I accidentally clicked out on the touchscreen. Where did we go? I lost the comment. Oh, well. Crypto going mainstream. Ava Labs. Thoughts on Ava Labs? Any competition there? No. We do different things. We think about different things. I noticed the increase of FUD too. It's a sign of future success. Me too. It's sad. Charles, what do you think about Hedera Future? Hedera Hashgraph. Don't think about them at all. Any patented project I don't consider to be legitimate. If they ever open source their stuff, and maybe they did, but I just completely wrote them off the minute that they came to market with patents. I don't care how big your stuff is and how great your stuff is. If you patent it, you're not a blockchain. You're not a cryptocurrency. You're centralized. If one person or one company has the right to tell someone to not use the product, prevent someone from using the product, I'm sorry, you're just not real. If you're open source, I'll read your code. I'll read your protocols. I'll take you seriously. To Penn C, your predictions on the presidential election. I think it's going to be super contentious. Both sides are going to declare victory, and I think Donald Trump is going to probably win the election. That's my prediction. No skull and bones for Charles. He's a working man. That's true. They will not let me in any secret society. I was born in Hawaii to a family with nothing special about it. Sorry, I'm not allowed to be there. Thoughts about using Cardano as a voting structure for workers' unions? That'd be great. It'd be a lot of fun. And I think it's a wonderful DC project. And we'd be willing to work with you guys on it if someone wanted to go and do it. Have you ever read Anti-Fragile by Nassim Taleb? Yes, I have. Good book. Bed of Procrustes was another one. Which one were you talking about? I assume the Independent Convention up in Wyoming? I had a lot of fun giving that speech. Do you have a guard dog on your ranch? Yes, I do. And I like the donkey in your picture, JC. I have geese, guard dogs, and people with guns. It is not a good ranch to break in. Someone robbed me once. It took me 3 days to find him. I was in Barbados at the time, had to fly home. It was like Taken with Liam Neeson. It was a lot of fun. I even wrote a news article about it. See if you guys can find it. Using that Massey to clear snow yet? It's too big for the driveway. I do in the backfield, but I have to get a skidster. People think I'm joking about the robbery too. That's the fun part. No. I would love to see a Spotify equivalent on Cardano that distributes funds directly to artists. Eventually IdeaScale will evolve to the point where you all are going to be able to propose these things and as challenge problems. People are going to go and try to solve them, build things. Any North Carolina projects? I will be in North Carolina in November. Here we go. Charles, yesterday you were saying you want to increase K to 1,000. Is that a promise? It's going to happen, guys. First, probably 500, then 1,000. As soon as we can. We're working on it. It all gets taken care of. Do you curse in all your public speeches? No, just the ones that call for it. It's a tool. Patton used it. The Toyota Camry is my favorite affordable car. I no longer have affordable cars, but I used to have a Ford Fusion. Before that, a Ford Taurus. I was a Ford man for a while. You know what Ford stands for, don't you? Found on road dead. Oh, any chance of working with Korean enterprise, Korean market? I just had a conversation with Erica Kang, and we did an interview. She's based in Vietnam right now, but she's actually normally based in Seoul. I travel a lot to Korea, and if we did do something there, I'd love to do something with her. So look for that interview that Erica releases, and we talk a lot about the Korean marketplace. Have you looked into heated driveways? Yes, I'm going to not only put a heated driveway that is geothermal here on the farm, but I'm also going to make it a glow-in-the-dark driveway. You can actually embed a material inside the driveway where you have a glow-in-the-dark pattern. So when the lights go down, you can actually show beautiful patterns on the driveway. So it'll be both heated and glow-in-the-dark and geothermal. St. Clumsy, I installed geothermal systems for a living. Yeah, I was looking at a geothermal HVAC because I got a farm and I have enough room to do a loop array, and you just bury it 6 feet down and do a few hundred feet. You can easily be able to get hot water and air conditioning and heating all from one system. It works very well for radiant heating and very energy efficient, so you can use it for large surface areas, like a large farm driveway, for example. Think mechanical. Oh, so you're like an Ormat man, St. Clumsy. I'm thinking geothermal HVAC. Actually, if you guys go to YouTube and you Google, you enter in geothermal HVAC on YouTube, there's some great videos to watch about how those systems work. That, frankly, is how every air conditioning and heating and water heating system in the United States should be done. It just makes so much sense. Even the vertical systems will work. Did the Lambo do in the snow? It does quite well. Did you enjoy your visit to the University of Illinois? Yes, Urbana-Champaign is the particular one. There are some people there working with IOHK. Yeah, Pramod Viswanath and Grigory Roshu. And wonderful university. Love the Black Dog. That's a barbecue place there. Favorite watches. Jaeger LeCoultre is my favorite high-end watch brand. There are some Vacheron Constantines I really enjoy. And Frederick Constant is a really nice entry-level Swiss brand that I enjoy. And the Altiplano is my favorite watch. I think that's from Peugeot. If Trump responded to your tweet, what would be your plan? Well, it depends on what he wants to do. I can do anything. It can be big, it can be small. I say, let's go to the White House and talk about it. Make it a press event. You took Little Wayne. Come on. You can have Little C. Charles, you going to the moon before you die? You damn know it. They're going to bury me on a diamond pyramid on the moon, son. Your video and questions are blurry. Can't be read. Is that the same case for you guys? Are they blurry? You having trouble reading them? Because they look clear to me, but I'm getting a local feed, so I don't know. If your bandwidth isn't good enough, then it'll broadcast in 240 or 360, which will make me appear to be blurry. Ah, it's clear for everybody else. Sorry, man. If IOHK doesn't get ADA from Treasury, will you still build on Cardano? We'll use Cardano as a platform, but it'd be really sad because we wouldn't be able to take Cardano to the next level, and I think it would ultimately hurt the whole ecosystem. But I created it, and I'd like to see Cardano succeed. And I feel that our company is uniquely positioned because we spent 5 years learning how to be positioned to deliver great things. And I think we're one of the few companies in the world that really can take Cardano to the next level. We're not the only one. I mean, sure, there's probably a few floating around that can do a competent job, but it's going to be a team effort. And I think it would be best suited if we bring 20 or 30 great companies with good checks and balances and audit controls to deliver a 3 to 5 year roadmap. But that's a 2021 thing. If you have dinner with any pharaoh, which one would it be? Well, if it was a pharaoh, it'd be Ramses. But if it was any Egyptian from that time period, Imhotep, the mythological builder of the pyramids. There's a lot of questions I have about that. This is actually a really cool question. If you were the moderator of a presidential debate, how would you handle it? I would pick a collection of topics and I would say, okay, we're going to do something new. I'm not here to give you a gotcha and attack your record. Instead, I'm going to let you guys give a clear, concise answer of where you want to go for each of these things. It is the year 2050. Your policies have been adopted. Let's talk about healthcare. What happened? Let's talk about Social Security. What happened? Let's talk about foreign policy. What happened? What does the world look like? And if you give me platitudes, I'm just going to drill down for specific details. And I'm going to ask questions and KPIs like, does everybody in America have health care? What is the cost of health care? How did you get there? What did you pass? These types of things. I'd like to actually do the vision question and see what the definition of success means. I'd ask about UBI. I'd ask about changing from GDP to Human Development Index. I'd ask a litany of questions like that. And I'd ask about ballot diversity. And I'd ask, why are there no third-party candidates present here? Why doesn't America deserve to have third-party candidates? Is the two-party system good or bad? Tell us this. And so I'd ask a lot of hard questions like that. I probably put a lot of time into it. That's why I don't get to moderate, nor does Joe Rogan. Although now that he's owned by Spotify, maybe he gets to moderate now. Was this addressed to me? It's ridiculous. You literally refuse to explain science to regular people. What science did we explain? No Joe Rogan for you now. Oh, Alex Jones complains about Joe Rogan. We'll do Rogan after Gogan. I'll be on. It's just I'm a little sad about the whole Spotify thing. The magic of Joe Rogan was the belief of independence and the wildness and unexpectedness of the show, and it just feels like they're on a road to curation and deplatforming. I mean, they're already starting to delete certain episodes, and it just doesn't feel the same. Maybe I'm just nostalgic. Yesterday's science and the product update. You got to be more specific here, Peter. I'm trying here, man. I'm trying. I really am. But I don't understand. We have 90 papers. We have over 300 videos, and some of which are at the academic conferences where there's exhaustive explanation. What science are you talking about, Peter? Come on, man. You got to give me something, Peter. From Benjamin, your thoughts on COVID-19. I've made a lot of videos and had a lot of discussions about COVID-19. It's just a sad situation all around. Guys, the single most successful country, I think, in a modern economy is Taiwan. for COVID-19. 7 people died. If you go to your good old-fashioned Google and you type in Taiwan COVID-19 or coronavirus, brings up the statistics, and you guys can verify that for yourself. It's a country of 20 million people, and only 7 people died from it. Extrapolating that to the population of the United States, you're looking at, I don't know, what, 100 people dying in the United States for that same setup. And they didn't do a lockdown. They did stuff differently. In the United States, we had a small window of time for everybody to set their bullshit aside and everybody to work together, and we could have had an outcome similar to Taiwan's. Instead, we allowed politics to consume us, and we ended up with the worst of everything. No matter where you sit on the spectrum, everybody lost. We had 50 different standards. Everybody was blaming each other. No one was honest about anything. And it felt so incredibly disingenuous. Here's a great example of it. It's the worst pandemic since the Spanish flu, and it's caused more economic damage than any disease in human history because of how globalized the world economy is, and no one cares about the origins. Where did it come from? What's the story behind that? We trust the Communist Party of China to tell us these things. The city it breaks out in happens to be the city that a lab is that studies these particular things, and the wet markets it spread at is only a few miles away from the lab, where probably somebody who works at the lab would go and get lunch at. That's the beginning of it, and it went downhill from there. No one can agree on anything, and no one has the ability to get to real facts. And at the end of the day, 200,000 people in the United States have died. We've had profound economic damage. It's going to kill 10 plus million people from starvation because of the global economy collapse. And there's so much we could have done from it. So there'll be time for reflection, and certainly coming. There's this now statement, the Great Reset, where capitalism is going to war with socialism. And it looks like we might have the pendulum swing to socialism like we did in the Great Depression in the 1930s. And a lot of bad things will come from that. So I'm sad. Very, very sad. From Tal A, ADA will go down to 0.05. So tell me your analysis. How did you decide that number? Why 0.05? You have the floor. Yeah, I answered your question. Why not 0.4? Why not 0.3? What is the thing that holds it up the price at 0.5 and not 10 or 15? Come on. What is it? Are we coupled with the stock market? Are we coupled with Bitcoin? Is everybody just going to sell their ADA to go to a dollar as a safe harbor asset? I mean, what is your analysis? If you're going to quote a specific price point, I assume that you have a deep and detailed analysis done. No one knows. Wall Street doesn't know. No one can predict the price of Bitcoin, much less Cardano. You just say stuff. He says, stock market. How do you know the stock market's not going to go up? Might go way up, might go way down. It should be in the toilet right now with our GDP and economic parameters. Instead, it went up. Who knows? What do you think about the movie The Social Dilemma? A lot of people tell me to watch it, but I have not seen it yet. Why has influenza almost disappeared? Where did it go? No, influenza's here. My dad's treating it. Other people are treating it. It exists. We have less cases because the same things that spread coronavirus spread influenza. And if we're under a pseudo lockdown or social distancing and masks with better things like hand washing, it's much harder to contract influenza. But it does exist. From Tim Baca, can a big tech company steal the Cardano code since it is open source and steal our thunder? Well, did any of them steal Bitcoin's code or Ethereum's code? Well, actually, there was some attempt to steal Ethereum's code. It was done by JP Morgan and others. How did that work out for them? Samsung also did it with IBM. The code doesn't matter. It's you, the community. Those are the ones that matter. What are the new paintings on your wall? I have no new paintings. Those are old pictures. Some of them very old. Just paint on canvas made by people. Everpedia moved to Cardano. I'll ask him about it. I'm going to do an interview with him, and we'll have that conversation. I got an email today from this address thanking me for being part of the community, but basic spelling error, just so you know. It was a fake email. Fake email. I don't own that domain. It has nothing to do with me. People impersonate me every single day, and there's nothing I can do about it. What will you say to the Senate if you are summoned like Zuck? I'd sit down and have a conversation. I know a lot of senators. It's not like it's a foreign concept. Look, I don't deplatform people. I don't go and take money from people. I don't go hurt people. I build things and give the way to the world. The people who get dragged before the Senate are the people who make billions of dollars from controlling your lives and doing wrong to some subset of the people. And then the other side of it go and complain about it. If you go and give everything away and make the protocols open and try to help people, the poorest people in the world, they generally don't give you face time because people start asking, why aren't others doing what that guy's doing? Nothing would make me happier than the notoriety of sitting before the Senate. And I'd love to talk to Ted Cruz and Rand Paul, and I'd love to talk to the rest of these guys. We'd have so much fun. And we'd get 1 million new followers at the end of the day. So please subpoena me, Senate. Bring me before you. I'd love to talk to you. Charles, briefly about Nikola Tesla. Nothing to say. He was a brilliant inventor. I like Tesla coils. He actually lived out here in Colorado. The largest Tesla coil in the world was in Colorado Springs. Do you have any socialist friends? Yes, I do. I have communist friends and socialist friends and hippie friends and friends who have given away all their assets and live as monks. I have billionaire friends, king friends, heads of state friends. I don't judge people for their beliefs or politics. I look at them for their character and their story, and they're all over the spectrum. We live in an age, though, where people are in cults, and if you're outside of the cult, you get exiled. Wen Moon. That's a poor Korean child. He's just been brutalized by our industry, along with the Fiat Motor Company. The Senate will never subpoena Charles. They'd be too scared. Yeah, especially after my Wyoming speech. Holy God, these guys are clowns. I'd make mincemeat of them. It'd be so much fun. I'd go at them so hard on so many different topics, and I'd be so well prepared. I probably have like 600 pages worth of talking notes. And of course, I could talk for 11 hours, 12 hours. They could pull a Hillary Clinton on me and keep me there for 12 hours straight. I'd have so much fun with that. Steve Cohen purchased the Mets. Yeah, I know. I actually know Steve Cohen. There's a story there. He's a good guy. Grew up on a golf course. Are you a UFO enthusiast? The truth is out there, Carl. The truth is out there. I heard about the earthquake in Athens. The question is, when are you coming to Athens? And it's a beautiful place. We have a lab there. We have people work there. Yeah, everybody okay in Athens? Everybody okay in Greece? I didn't have a chance to talk to my Greek guys today. Does Ada run in Canada? Yes, it does. Charles, come to Croatia. We have many Croats who work for us. Darko, for example. Looking for a question to end this with. But would it bother you to be labeled as a conspiracy theorist? Guys, the more successful I get, the more I'm going to get labeled. Just that simple. There's no way to get around it. Are you planning on marrying a girl in the near future? If I met the right one. The earthquake was far from Athens, close to the island Samos. Okay, so it's fine then. Come on, guys, give me a good one to end on. Charles, is your refrigerator running? I don't hear anything. Is there feedback on the line, guys? Well, nothing really exciting. I guess that's where we'll cut it. Thank you, every guys. This was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. I'm going to go get some sleep. I'm tired. Night.